You're watching the 2024-25 SCAC Basketball Media Days. Today, we're taking a dive into Concordia University men's basketball program. Tornadoes will be led once again as they head into the season under the guidance of head coach Stan Bonewitz, along with leadership from senior Don Stafford. Coach, Don, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thanks for having us. Looking forward to spending some time with you.
So thank you.
Coach, we'll open up with you heading into your 21st season there as the head coach of this men's basketball program at Concordia. What have you grown to love about the space you occupy there over these last 2+ decades? Where have you seen the biggest growth within your program, and just how excited you to be back here at the start of a new season and get going with this group?
Yeah, I've really enjoyed, the 21 years from when I first got hired. We were downtown, and just having that experience as a young head coach and getting to know the community and the people that not only within the athletic department, but across the campus, and just expanding those relationships over the years has been fun. It's been I've grown a lot as a human. I've grown a lot with working throughout this campus, and the great thing that a lot of schools in this conference understand, or a lot of coaches do, is at these smaller colleges, you get a chance to be involved in areas not just in your own bubble. And so for me personally, I think I've benefited from that and being a part of different groups and committees and opportunities across campus that I know if I was at a larger space, I wouldn't have that. So that's, personally. And then just, when you're someplace for a long time, you get to develop relationships with the guys you coached, and seeing those guys, come back when they can, and having a conversation with guys who were here when you started and guys who have been through it, and seeing them kind of grow into who they are as people is always fun. And I think I've been fortunate that we've had some pretty good players come through here, and more importantly, I think really good people that I've been able to stay in contact with, and build relationships that have been fun to see grow, during that time.
Don, coming into this season, it's a big year for you, not only your senior season, first year for Concordia here into the SCAC. I'm just interested, looking for a vibe check in the locker room right now. How has preseason unfolded? How is the group getting things coming back together, getting ready to start this season? What is this team looking forward to most, entering this first year in the SCAC?
So right now the vibe is amazing right now. We got a lot of new guys right now. And for us to for a lot of new guys, we're very close. For this amount of time, we got very close in a short period of time. And also for preseason, we've been looking great in practice. We've been going hard. It's been real competitive. And I'm looking forward to being a part of the SCAC.
Coach, tell us a little about this group. Obviously for a number of fans in the SCAC that may be seeing Concordia basketball for the first time this year, talk a little about kind of the style of play that they could expect to see, and what have you learned about this specific team? Their personalities, what drives them that has you excited coming into this year?
Yeah, over the 21 years, we've tried to establish an identity within the program of being a pressing team that's going to play fast and is going to dictate. Kind of our goal is that we kind of would like to influence the pace and the outcome with style, and so much of that is just everyday practice of pressuring defensively and offensively, playing fast. And we've had some good runs with it. We've had some years where it's high risk, high reward at times, but it's just kind of what we do. As far as this group, they've been great. I mean, Don just touched on it. It's been. Every coach is excited early in the season, no doubt. So I'm not speaking probably different than most, but I do feel like this team they've been practicing really hard. They really have. They've been competitive. We have, like Don said, we have a nice blend of older guys between Don and Dolph and Juan and Vaughn. We have 4 seniors that have been through it and been with us. And then we have some guys coming back from last year's team that were freshmen that are now sophomores that are a little more older, obviously, and then some transfers and some new guys who have come in that have, I don't know, I feel like practices have been highly competitive. And I think one thing I think we do a really good job of is practicing hard, I guess, and practicing with urgency, and the guys don't take reps off. And so far, we haven't played a game, and once you play a game, you start, figuring some more things out, and guys, the challenge I've kind of told this team from the beginning is just the willingness, Don included, to potentially maybe have to sacrifice some things. I think we have some depth, And with that, we got to figure out how to utilize some of that and make it play to our strength, which means some guys may have to maybe give up some things they had in the past. And we'll see. Again, it's early, but all indications right now, like Don said, the guys seem to be working well together and more than anything, competing like in a really, really high level in practice, but also in a way that's not crossing the line of being non-productive. It's been pretty healthy competition so far.
Don, you've been a big part of this program really since day one, stepping onto campus. I've started 42 of your 51 games play there, but coming off of a really strong junior season, you look at your numbers really up across the board in terms of games started, minutes play, your 3-point percentage is up, free throw percentage up, assists per game up, turnovers per game down, all the things really pointing in that right trajectory. So I'm interested, coming off of a season like that, what does it do for your individual confidence and your growth? And then what have you continued to work on individually as a player through the course of the offseason this summer coming in to continue to grow that confidence heading into your senior year?
So right now, my confidence is out the world right now, especially like after my sophomore season. I remember I was losing my confidence and stuff, and coaches always telling me always like to stay confident, but always remain humble as well. And also, I'm well aware what I did last season, but some of the things I worked on, I've been working on being able to pass the ball because I know teams might be trying to use me as their main focus. So I have to be able to pass the ball. I still been working on my shooting, passing, and dribbling, of course. So.
Coach, obviously, as we've talked about, it's a big year for Concordia basketball, kind of a turn of a new page heading into this new era of SCAC basketball as Concordia jumps in. And I know at the league, we're super excited for this start of this new season. I'm interested, what you see as maybe some of the biggest challenges that this group will face. And maybe even for you as a coach, you certainly were in a familiar space for the past 2 decades. So even some challenges and changes for you as well. And, how will kind of the familiarity that still resides within the SCAC, whether it be non-conference, the conference games now or some old conference games, continuing that in that space, how will that help this group take on those challenges?
Well, I think, again, one of the biggest challenges is it's a good league. I mean, like the teams, I think there was 3 NCAA tournament teams that came in last year, and we've played these teams over the last several years, and we've seen firsthand how good they are. We've played Trinity and had a hard time with them, and St. Thomas and Colorado College last year just physically beat us up, and we played them down in San Antonio, and then Shriners they've gotten us the last couple of years, and at TLU, it's just a good league, and I know from experience, having played not only recently but played some of these teams. We played when I first got hired. Austin College was in the league, so I remember going to Austin College and playing there back, however many years back now. And I just know all these places are. First of all, they're well coached. All these teams are. I think the coaching is really good. They have good play at the talent level. Each team, it seems like, creates its own unique challenge for sure. And then some of these places are hard places to play. Winning at TLU is brutal. And going to Shriners new facility and Trent. I mean, all of them. Going to Colorado College. We went there many years back, maybe 10 years ago. We went to a Christmas Classic, and just that whole trip and everything that comes with that is challenging. And so I think some of that, I think the game formatting on some of these where you're playing back to back, that's different for us. That's a challenge. How do you handle scout? How do you handle in between? How do you prep for the week? The travel is different. So I think but it's also fun. Sometimes when you've been doing the same thing for however many years, there's good and bad with it, and so it's nice to change it up. And the SCAC's such a well-known, well thought of league on a national level that it's fun to be a part of it, and to be involved in some of these new, I guess, rivalries, competition will be fun for all of us.
Don, finally, as we wrap up with you, it's exciting to hear your excitement and just talking about the upcoming season. Hearing Coach talk about some of the challenges. So, when you have had conversations with some of your other teammates and leaders within your locker room about some of the goals and expectations coming into this year one here in the SCAC, what have those conversations looked like? And ultimately, Don, what's going to be key for this group to accomplishing those things heading into the year?
So yeah, everybody's main objective in the beginning of the year is always to get that ring, of course. Everybody wants to win a championship, of course. But some of those conversations in the locker room and everything, we have a new group of guys. So to exceed those expectations, we have to trust each other. Like that's gonna be a main focus and points we're gonna have to do is trust each other. It's a new group of guys, so that's gonna have to be on point. Stacking games on top of each other because like in the ASC we play Thursday, then we play Saturday. So I know these games are kind of back to back. We have one day off, so we got to get right back to it. So we're gonna have to be able to stack games and stuff too as well. So
Finally, coach, as we wrap up with you, what's been the message as preseason's unfolded with this group? You hear Don talk about some of the goals and the expectations that him and his teammates are having. So, what's kind of been the message with you and your staff as you've started to focus on things to help accomplish those things, whether it's things you feel this team does good and you're trying to be great at, or maybe some areas of improvement? What's kind of been the tone and the message of this preseason as you get prepared?
I think we've just been fighting every day, just trying to create an identity. Honestly, like, hey, this is not. I mean, we'll get more detail as we go, but not overly complex with what we're doing, but just more liked on how we're doing it and like making sure we're keeping, as my assistant likes to say, the main thing. And we're trying to really hone in on not spreading ourselves too thin as a staff and as a team. And like, hey, here's a couple things on defense we're worried about. Here's a couple things on offense. Let's be really good at these now. And then we can start to like break it down and get deeper into that as we go. And all. So yeah, I think fighting every day to create that identity and what we're going to look like throughout the season, and then just the chemistry piece, and that comes with time. But like Don said, because there's some. I mean, it's a nice blend. There are some new guys who potentially could play, maybe pivotal roles or important roles with what we're doing. But there's also a good group of returners who have been through it, and so. There's always a little bit of territorial battles, or there can be when you have returners and you got new guys and everybody's kind of fighting for their space. And again, that hasn't been the case because I think we've been pretty fortunate. We have great leaders like Don and Juan and Dolph and all these seniors who understand kind of how we work, but also the mindset that comes with it as far as the selflessness and kind of how we approach each day. And so there's not that ego doesn't get overly involved, but it's still something that exists. And anytime you do your job as a coach, hopefully, and you recruit good players have expectations of having good results. And so those expectations, you got to kind of get those expectations in a line so that as a player, they can modify or elevate based on kind of what's best for the team. So just working through that. We get our first scrimmage this upcoming weekend, so that'll be fun. We haven't had a chance to play anybody else. We've just been practicing every day, against each other and all that stuff. So it'd be good to play somebody else. And then our non-conference schedule is tough. We open up, we play Mary Hardin Baylor twice, Hardin Simmons twice, at Howard Payne. It's a tough schedule, and so there will be not a lot of time to kind of figure it out. We're going to have to start figuring out right away, honestly. So we're excited about that. Again, I think it's a good mix, and if we can just keep everybody right and moving forward, I think we have a chance to be competitive.
Concordia University head men's basketball coach Stan Bonewitz, along with leadership from senior Don Stafford. The Tornadoes will open up the 2024-25 campaign when they take on UMHB on November 14th at home. Coach Don, thanks so much for your time today, and best of luck as you head into the year.
Thank you so much.
You have a good one.